mentioned when we spoke, this is called What Men Really Want, Honest Conversations with Quality Men. Quality men such as yourself. And what I mean by the whole point, the emphasis is on the honest conversations with quality men. So I want to know the things that you don't necessarily tell women, mainly because there would be no place to tell them. They might not, so it's things that they might not be aware of. And I'm really curious about what those things are. So the first question I'm going to ask you is what I ask everybody. So what is it that you really want from a woman?
So I consider myself, being the age of 46, someone who is quite a modern man, but yet hold a lot of traditions. And I think I look for that mix in my partner as well.
Okay.
So what I mean by modern, I think I'm quite open-minded. My background is Indian, so unlike a lot of Indian men my age, I'd certainly consider meeting women who are outside my religion or my faith. But I also hold on to a lot of the traditions that come with my religion. And I think for me, it's important for me to meet a woman who's also has an open type of mind, who perhaps was born here, who's probably got those Western values, but holds on to some of those traditional values as well.
So do you prefer Indian or not Indian?
I actually prefer non-Indian women.
Okay.
I haven't dated an Indian woman for a while, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't be open to meeting that woman. But I just find Indian women in that age bracket I'm looking for, have probably been brought up during that decade where things were very different, and they either had arranged marriages or they were brought up in a family with strong traditions, and the parents generally chose their paths for them.
What is your age?
46.
No, sorry, the age bracket that you're looking for.
So I think someone above 36, 37.
Okay, until?
42, 43.
Because you want kids.
So I've come No, I think I've come to a realization, and just probably the last 12 months, that if I don't have kids, it's fine.
Yeah, so you were saying, so you were listing other qualities. You said somebody who's modern and traditional. So explain the traditional, explain the modern. What traditional values are you after?
So I'm not religious at all, but there's some traditions in the Indian faith which I like to hold on to. Simple. So we have something called Raksha Bandhan, where the sister ties a string around the man's hand, and it's a brotherly, sisterly bond, which I think is a sweet tradition. It's once a year, and I'm quite close to my sisters, so I enjoy that. I also enjoy the whole family aspect of our, when it comes to tradition, respecting the old elders, what's right, what's wrong. You don't necessarily need religion to tell you that, but it's important. Tradition doesn't necessarily mean she has to hold on to religious traditions, but just sometimes it's nice to have a woman who's a bit old-fashioned, understands what a man, how to treat a man.
Yeah. So that's actually something I want to grab onto. So a woman who understands how to treat a man.
Yeah, I think, so that's what I consider when I say traditional.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I had read somewhere many years ago a very simple one line which says the secret to a good relationship is a woman needs to feel desired and a man needs to feel needed.
That's interesting. I like that one-liner. A woman needs to feel desired, a man needs to feel needed.
Yeah, and as long as you...
opposed to desired, which is actually, they're synonyms.
They are.
Think about it. But they actually mean completely different things.
They do, that's right. And
that's
if you keep reminding yourself in your relationship, I think you're on to probably good things.
So when you say a woman who knows how to treat a man, can you explain that a bit more?
So sometimes, like I said, a man needs to feel needed sometimes, and I think the modern woman these days forgets that. Often they're just so focused on themselves, their careers, which isn't a bad thing. But I think, okay, let me rewind a bit. I'm jumping around. But,
Don't worry, you can jump around.
I have a theory, it's a simple theory, which is over the last 30 odd years, women have really evolved. I look at my mum and where she is, I look at my sisters and how they are different to my mum. And I think men really haven't evolved. So there's a bit of a disconnect.
So funny that you say that. I've had a couple of people say that. That what men are just like the core of men is the same.
We haven't changed at all. And women have. And I think there's a disconnect because of that. So this
So
modern
men are
woman.
lost.
Yeah, I think so. And we don't know necessarily how to handle the woman. And at the same time, I don't think the modern woman knows how to handle that.
Bring out the best in her man.
Well, not necessarily bring out, that's a big part of it, but because she's now this independent, successful woman who's got a career, who's this superwoman because she's balancing her work, her home, her husband, often the husband becomes a lower priority.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by...
Or if she wants something done, she's like a Mack truck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for 5-year-olds. Why would it work for a grown man?
Right. So I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so a woman who kind of has... So you're looking for a woman with femininity.
So I think... I think femininity is very important for a man.
Listen, ladies, when you hear this, that's what I teach.
It's got to be instrumental in a woman. A man doesn't want to be with a woman who... I mean, I'm sure there are a few, but generally speaking, a man wants to be with a woman who he's going to want to hold proudly on his arm. And I know this sounds a bit cavemanish, but ultimately, as I've just explained, men haven't really changed.
It sounds absolutely, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear the truth. You know, I think men are lost because of this whole thing. You know,
see, back in the day it was very simple. A woman had a role in a relationship, a man had a role, and it was very clear.
Yeah.
But over the last 30 odd years, things have changed a lot, and the roles are intertwined, and there's a lot of grey area, and men get confused.
So what about that traditional role? I mean, do you think, when you think of a woman that you'd like to spend your life with, would you prefer she be more inclined to take the traditional role, or do you prefer that she has that independence in the career and stuff like that?
Me personally, I prefer...
You are a successful man.
So me personally, I like the more modern woman.
Okay, the one who's also successful.
Doesn't have to be financially successful, but whatever she's doing, she's passionate about it.
Right. Okay. Great.
And this brings me on to, I guess I'm doing a questioning and answering, but it brings me on to another thing about passion. I find a lot of the women I meet lack passion about something. So what I mean by that is, whether it's, I don't know, horse riding, or whether it's a hobby, or skiing, whatever it is, I find a lot of women don't have a passion. Whatever that may be, it'd be nice to be with someone who loves something and knows everything about it. So I often meet women who say they love tennis, for example. But if you ask them who's the #1 ranked female tennis player in the world, they won't know that. So that's not passionate. They play tennis as a hobby. But be passionate and maybe read about it, and maybe if you're passionate about tennis, go to, I don't know, the US Open, or go to some tournaments and really be...
So it's have something they're passionate about. So that's completely something I tell people as well, like have something.
Have something.
Doesn't matter what it is.
But don't say I'm passionate about tennis, but then don't know who the #1 ranked player in the world is. I don't know, maybe that's a bit harsh.
Well, it's like men who are passionate about football. They would completely know every single person on the football team, and exactly.
And we talk about
their
it.
averages, and they talk about what a mistake that the coach is.
We could spend hours talking about it.
Completely, yeah.
And I can't think of many subjects or passions women have. But I think, for me, that's super sexy. If a woman, whether it's knitting or poetry or whatever it is, if they're passionate about it and they understand it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of women are into art, for example. I find they love going to exhibitions, etc. But I find a lot of them are just...
But even if it's her career, it could be her career that she's passionate about.
I'm actually talking about anything outside her career.
Okay. What if she loves her job? Like
fantastic.
And she's absolutely passionate about teaching.
So I love my career, but I have a lot of passion outside my career. And I'm sure your listeners will probably want to know, well, what the hell are they?
Yeah. Okay, so...
Things I look for in a woman when I meet them is, are they kind? And I know it's not necessarily easy to tell, but I think over the years you kind of pick up the sort of vibes. You can tell if a woman's kind.
Yeah, that's important.
It's very important, because I think it's important the way she treats her friends, the way she treats her family, because ultimately that's the way she'll treat me and perhaps my children.
What's the first thing you look at, the figure or the face?
The face.
The face. And what are you looking for on the face?
I'm looking for someone who looks younger than me. A good complexion is important.
Okay.
Good makeup is very important. You'd be amazed how many women get makeup wrong.
Okay, explain that.
So I think I see and meet a lot of women, particularly who are fair, who just don't get their makeup right.
So they wear too much, or...?
If you have pale complexion, I imagine it's quite difficult to get the right makeup for you. I don't know.
I think most makeup is actually made for people who are...
So I'm not an expert in this field, but I just feel sometimes they overdo it.
They overdo it. Okay,
and
that's
people with pale skin, if they overdo it, it's not very attractive.
So you want makeup that's more natural looking. That's what I'm trying to get
I think so.
Okay, that's... How important is that? So if she physically is not a look that you find attractive, could you ever see yourself settling down with her?
It would be challenging, but if she was intelligent, if we shared a lot of interests, if she engaged me, there are a lot of ways a woman can be attractive without being my type, if you know what I mean. Her personality could be very attractive. And actually, as I said to you before, I used to focus more on the physical, but now I find women attractive for many reasons. It doesn't have to be that they have to be, beautiful.
Okay, so what, are there any deal breakers?
What, on the physical side?
No, on every side, that you would automatically say, this is not for me. Let's say you had a date with somebody. Is there anything that would automatically click and say, no, for sure not? Men make their decisions, like, the first decision in the first 10 seconds.
So I'd be lying if I said, if it's the first 10 seconds, it has to be physical, if you're not attracted to them physically.
So what is a deal breaker?
Someone who takes themselves too seriously.
Okay.
I like people who are easygoing.
Okay.
I'm probably quite difficult to be with, so I need someone who's...
Did you realise that?
Well, I'm 46 and sitting here, so...
Yeah.
But I do need someone who is relaxed and doesn't take themselves too seriously. It's quite important.
So sense of humour.
Yeah.
Better. Okay. I think one of the things that the women who are better have that the other women don't is choice. So they have the ability to choose the man that they want to be with. And so they don't have that need they don't have that scarcity thing that some women have, where, you know, oh my God, this might be the only person that ever likes me. Clearly, when you have a woman that's of, you know, high value, same thing with a man of high value, she might have many choices. When would you say in a relationship, like, how do you come to the point that you want to know that she's chosen just you?
Well,
do you know what I mean? Because that would be a turn off, I think, for a lot of men. I don't know for you. If you saw the woman that you're choosing, you know.
So it's a very interesting question, and generally speaking, if I get into a relationship, I want to know very early on if it's exclusive or if she's dating many men.
Okay, do you broach that, or should she broach
I always do that within the first 3 dates.
Oh, okay. And what, she's supposed to be honest, or she's supposed to tell you that she's not going to date any more men after now?
Well, honesty is a prerequisite in any relationship, right from the outset for me. I'm just too old to...
But I mean, in this society of Tinder, most people are dating more than one person at a time until they make a decision to be exclusive.
Fine. So if she is dating other guys, I'd want her to let me know, so at least I know there's a pecking order. And typically, I'd say to her that, well, you carry on dating the other guys. When you're ready to date me exclusively, then... So
around date 3, you basically let her know that you're ready for an exclusive relationship with her.
So I never date multiple girls at the same time.
You don't go on one date with one and then a date with another one?
No. One's hard enough.
Okay. So you're basically letting her know that you want to... So what you're actually saying, you're letting her know that you want to be exclusive.
So maybe I rewind a bit. I'm at a stage in my life where I only go on a date and then maybe a second or third date if I think there's a future in it.
Right, okay.
So I will only, if I meet someone and I find them attractive and I find we connect in many ways, I'll ask her out. And if she says yes, we'll go out on a date. If that works out, then I'm already thinking this could be a potential girlfriend.
Okay.
If she's not a potential girlfriend, I won't see her for the second or third time.
Okay, how does she know that you're not interested?
That I'm not interested?
Yes, because women sometimes persist in the fantasy of, you know,
so
he's actually really busy at work.
So I'm pretty black and white.
Okay.
And I kind of let them know in some form.
Okay, so you would actually say, I'm not, you know, let's be friends or whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Okay, something like that.
I'm
it's not
quite direct.
And do you pursue actively the woman that you're interested in?
Yes.
Okay, so you would...
To a point. If I see no reciprocation, it puts me off.
Okay, so she must be like going back. So basically, if a man really likes a woman, he will broach the conversation of exclusivity.
I would, yes.
And make it clear that, so she can wait for him to do that safely.
I imagine most men would want to be in an exclusive relationship because a man doesn't necessarily want to be in a pecking order.
Right. All right, thank you so much for your help. I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate you giving these answers. It was great.